Good to see you. All good? Yeah. Right. Oh. Okay, and we don't have anybody doing the pledge here. Becky. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. As always, the meeting of this village board will be streamed live on YouTube and will also be available on Facebook and on the village's website. It's a beautiful day today out here in Grange. I appreciate everybody coming out to our meeting and watching at home. especially if you're a little groggy with daylight savings time. But we're going to jump right at it. I'd ask that the meeting be called to order and Clerk Saladino call the roll.
Trustee Augustine.
Here.
Trustee Gale.
Here.
Trustee McGee.
Here.
Trustee O'Brien.
Here.
Trustee Peterson.
Here.
Trustee Thompson.
Here.
President Kukler.
Here, we have a full board tonight. That's great. At this time, I'd ask Clerk Saladino to invite the audience to stand and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice.
Moving on to the village president report. As almost everyone knows, we're just coming off the end of Grange Restaurant Week. I want to thank everybody who participated, from the restaurants to the customers. It was a wonderful turnout. Our restaurants did a wonderful job of providing various menu specials, and our Ripson Communications, who does a lot of our promotional work, did a fine job of getting a lot of our restaurants highlighted on different news and media platforms. So we were sure that the promotion, coupled with the good weather, made for a successful 10 days or so for our businesses, and we know that everybody got to try some new foods. I want to thank Mayor Sean McDermott, the mayor of Countryside. We were able to participate on March 2nd in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We had wonderful weather for the parade, and we were joined by several of our village officials and village staff, and even some of the residents joined us. And so that was fantastic and very fun. I also had the opportunity recently to attend the Clio's grand reopening in their new location on LaGrange Road in Callender. Clio was in their first location for over 40 years. She started when she was 21 and has been at that location over 40 years, and it now has built out her new location, and it's absolutely wonderful. If you haven't had a chance to walk in there yet, I encourage you to. It's just looking great, fresh, and with wonderful clothes. We, of course, as the village board, wish Clio all the success in the world. And continuing with the shop idea, coming up on April 13th, the LGBA will hold their annual spring shopping stroll event. The LGBA is organizing it, finalizing it, securing all the sponsors and participating merchants, but it's always a wonderful time to take advantage of all of our retail options. So please mark on your calendar April 13th for shopping local. And great news, as many heard, there was an appropriations bill out in Congress that was part of should the government shut down or not shut down, which seems to be happening now about every 6 weeks. But this time, not only did they keep the government going, they did pass some appropriation bills. Those bills were signed by President Biden just this weekend. Including in those bills were requests from the village to fund investments in our village's storm sewer systems in the South Basin, which is the area south of 47th Street. The idea is we want to increase the capacity of storm sewers. We want to make sure that our combined sewers are fully functioning as best as possible. We sincerely thank Congressman Chuy Garcia and Congressman Sean Casten for their work in securing funding for the village. Combined, they secured $2.5 million just for LaGrange. That's a phenomenal amount of money that's coming in from our congressman. We really appreciate their efforts. The board has been great working with the congressman. The congressmen both have been great working with our board, and that's really shows with these two awards. So it's wonderful. I'm going to be part, and some of the board will be part of a press conference in LaGrange Park to announce the awards that Congressman Chuy Garcia was able to secure. That's on Thursday, so we're looking forward to thanking Congressman Garcia in person. I've also had the opportunity to thank Congressman Sean Caston for securing the funds he was able to. So again, they are working for all of us in LaGrange, and they both realize flooding is a regional problem, so they're working with our neighbor communities also. Hanson Quarry litigation is continuing. The quarry has appealed the matter. There's timelines. They've asked the appellate court for an extension of time to file their initial brief. That's not unusual. The judge did, or the court did grant that. We're expecting a brief in early April, and we're hoping that they will get that done so that our attorneys can get our brief, which they assure us will be very strong, on file. So it is our sincere hope that that will continue to move along. However, we are not waiting on the quarry litigation. We have applied for permitting with the MWRD, the Water Reclamation District, for the 50th storm sewer. So again, we're operating on parallel tracks. We're going forward with our storm sewer project, as well as the lawyers handling the litigation. Because it is springtime out there, and that means spring break's coming up, we're not going to meet at our next meeting, which is scheduled for March 25th. We will be back on April 8th for a formal board meeting. We, however, are spending Saturday morning on village business. The whole board and department heads will be meeting to go over our budget. And we appreciate the board coming in on a Saturday. We appreciate our department heads and all their effort on getting this budget up for Saturday, and also spending their Saturday morning working on behalf of us and the residents. So with that, I'd ask if there's a village manager report.
There is, and thank you, President Kukler, and good evening, everyone. Spring cleanup is scheduled this year for week of March 18th. During this week, participants in the village's refuse collection program can dispose of an unlimited amount of household refuse for collection. All that's required is affixing a special cleanup sticker or 2 regular garbage stickers to your cart or another bin that's placed out for collection. For the program, participants are urged to place items out as early as Thursday, March 14th to encourage reuse of those items. If you do set items out early, please affix your sticker early in the morning of the collection to help prevent losing your sticker along with an item that's collected for reuse. More information can be found on the village's website. We also have a brush pickup program to assist residents in the maintenance of their property. The Department of Public Works provides brush pickup services starting in April and continuing through November. The service is offered monthly and begins on the first Monday of the month. The first pickup for this year begins April 1st. To participate, brush should be placed in the parkway on Sunday evening prior to the start of the program, but no later than 7 a.m. on the first Monday of each month of the program. Please visit the village's website or get in touch with the Department of Public Works for more information. As was mentioned, we have the village's budget workshop coming up this Saturday. In the preceding months, staff has worked diligently to craft a budget that supports the LaGrange community, is responsive to the village's strategic plan, efficiently meets operational needs, and continues to fund future capital needs. I'd like to thank everybody that's participated in putting that budget together, the village's management team, members of staff, village board, and everybody that has contributed to developing that budget. We look forward to the workshop and further honing that budget to best serve the community. President Kukla, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Village Manager Knight. Clerk Saladino, I'd like to request that you read the items on the consent agenda, followed by those items, if any, under current business.
Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they already have been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, a resolution waiving bidding and approving an agreement with DACRA Adjudication Systems for adjudication software services. Item B, a resolution waiving bidding and approving an agreement with Zoll Medical Corporation for the lease of defibrillator equipment. Item C, a resolution waiving the competitive bidding process and authorizing the purchase of a 2024 Ford Expedition from Diorzio Ford. Item D, a resolution waiving the competitive bidding process and authorizing the village manager to execute a purchase of street light poles from Electrical Resource Management. Item E, minutes of the Village of Grange Board of Trustees regular meeting, Monday, February 26, 2024. And item F, consolidated voucher 240311.
Thank you, Clerk Saladino. At this time, I would ask if there's any public comments regarding agenda items.
John Pluto, 718 East Avenue. That's good news. I'm glad to hear that.
The funds that we secured, the $2.5 million?
Absolutely.
It is fantastic news.
You held out on me.
It's great news, though. Moving on to the consent agenda, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda in a second?
I move for acceptance of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale, and I'll go with Trustee McGee, if that's all right. With that, any comment on the consent agenda?
Thank you, President Kukler. As previously stated, I recuse myself from voting on any of the agenda items related to the village prosecutor.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Trustee Thompson.
Aye.
Trustee Peterson. Aye. Trustee O'Brien.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee McGee.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on, there is no current business, so I would ask if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on items not on tonight's agenda.
Green light means it's on, right?
I'm not sure if the microphones, do we have a microphone or, yep, there we go.
Good evening. Good evening, President Kukler and trustees. I'm Peg Moster from the Affordable Housing Committee of the Grange Area League of Women Voters. As you know, our committee is quite interested in any work, progress, or success in LaGrange and other communities in the metropolitan Chicago area to establish or increase affordable housing. This past week in the Suburban Life, there was an article about Glen Ellen in DuPage County. It covered the recent successful efforts by the community and the Glen Ellen Board to increase affordable housing. Land that previously had been purchased by the village is being sold to an affordable housing developer who is committed to constructing an apartment building of 42 units, of which 30%, which is approximately 12 units, would be set aside as permanent supportive housing for people with disabilities. If I understand the report as it was written in the paper, it seems that all 42 would be affordable, but that those 12 units would specifically and permanently serve the disabled community. Interestingly, Glen Ellen's current percentage of affordable housing per the 2023 Illinois Housing Development Authority report is 16.6%, about 3% points higher than LaGrange's. And though we are now above that 10% threshold, like Glen Ellen, we are hopeful that it does not preclude inclusion and commitment to increase our numbers in the future. The fact that in Glen Ellen there was a set of deteriorating motels on land that no one seemed interested in buying, which kind of set the stage for the village to acquire them, obviously work to their advantage. So as we all know, LaGrange has little, if any, large tracts of land that might be available currently. But as the agreement with the RTA for the new comprehensive plan includes redevelopment of the West End, we are hopeful that will include a percentage of affordable housing within any planned development of the area or redevelopment, as well as with any other opportunities that may arise elsewhere in the village. I think we're all anxious to see the first draft of the new comprehensive plan with any recommendations therein on how to address the issue of affordability. We look forward, as I'm sure you all do, to making sure this issue is addressed in a substantive manner in the new plan. Thank you for your time and your interest. For those of you who may not have seen the article in the Suburban Life, I do have copies, as well as a copy of my statement.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moser, and we'll definitely take a copy if you have one to give us.
A few.
All right. And thank you, Ms. Moser, and thank you for your advocacy on behalf of the less fortunate or people in need. Any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move right into trustee comments. Any trustee comments? Oh, we got a trustee comment.
I do have one, yes. Thank you, President Kugler. As I was walking in to town for the meeting this evening, Peggy, can you hear me, by the way? Okay. I walked a couple extra blocks through town. We've had some recent businesses closed down to reconcept. Monk's, for example, is opening back up with a new concept. We had Cleo's Move. The old Cleo space will become an extension, as I understand it, of Blackberry Market. At the same time, the opposite corner has Starbucks, but they have a sign up that says we're renovating. But a lot of them don't, and we still have the old Nixon space that is a blight. And I guess I'm wondering, we have a great commission system who holds standards high for businesses that come into town, what their lights and signs and facades can look like, even what their alleys can look like. But I don't know if there's any new code that we could write or amend that asks them to also, when these buildings go up for lease or under renovation, can we ask that that the signs are hung straight, or that there's a sign for coming soon? And I know that we don't technically allow coming soon signs, but yet we kind of do. So I guess what I'm wondering is, it kind of looks like there's a lot more businesses that are out of business in LaGrange, but really there's a lot of businesses that are in transition. And can we help those neighboring businesses and the community as a whole look a little more vibrant by asking that the signs and the coming soons and things like that become a priority in some way?
Sure, I'm not. Are you saying that you want the village to help with coming soon signs, or
no? I'm hoping that we can come up with some standard for the owners of these buildings or the businesses to put a sign in that says coming soon, or pardon our dust, like what Starbucks has. We're just renovating, so everybody knows that that's clear. But the rest, they just look abandoned. And again,
right.
It really feels. I mean, Nixon's been that way for 2 years. So
yeah, not to cut you off, but Nixon's is obviously a problem. It's in litigation. Our village prosecutor is working hard to get that moving. I don't know if community development, assistant village manager Charity Jones wants to add in kind of some of those. I mean, obviously the Nixon property, or what formerly was Nixon's, is definitely a problem and a thorn in everybody's side.
Sure. So given that property is in litigation for code compliance issues, I don't know that there's much more that I can really comment on that property at this time. But to speak more generally, we do have a proactive code enforcement program in the business district areas where our environmental health officer, who splits his time between property maintenance and restaurant health code compliance, does follow up on property maintenance compliance to ensure that our buildings look their best. We do always encourage businesses when they are closed for renovations to have a sign up letting people know, and we do provide for those authorized administrative extensions of the otherwise 30-day time limit on temporary signs to allow people to have those signs up longer for the duration of their construction time frame, so that customers don't get the wrong notions and think that they're closed. So those are some of the things that we employ currently.
With Charity, if you could give some background on renovations, when does it kick in where DRC, at least in the downtown area, would have jurisdiction versus things that they
Sure,
don't?
absolutely. So the design review overlay district that covers most of the downtown and the West End, a design review permit is required for any work that involves a building permit that impacts the exterior of the building. So for example, tuck pointing and painting, painting doesn't require a permit, so therefore doesn't require a design review permit. Tuck pointing requires a permit, but doesn't impact the appearance of the exterior of the building. It's just maintenance work, so it doesn't require a design review permit. If you're going to install new windows and change the window opening sizes or put in a door where there wasn't one before, that does require a design review permit. And the Design Review Commission is that body that reviews and recommends design review permits. The one exception to that is signage that complies with our general sign code requirements. That is exempt from design review by the Design Review Commission. That's a staff review and approval.
Thank you, Charity. And frequently, I'll have business owners complaining that our Design Review Commission is too stringent or wants too much. And I try to explain this is our one opportunity that we have to make sure that the building's upgraded to our current standards. And so we appreciate what the Design Review Commission does, because they do make sure that properties that maybe haven't been maintained for some time, when they get purchased or redeveloped, they get brought up into whatever the current standards are, and that really does improve it. So I think that Design Review Commission is important for the reasons Trustee Augustine brought up. So thank you for those comments. Any other trustee comments? Seeing none, I would ask for, we are not going into closed session today, so seeing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale, Trustee O'Brien. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And the meeting is adjourned at 7:57. Thank you, everybody.
4 minutes. 8:01. So technically I blew it because you shouldn't go over, right? So I should be under, like the prices.